Hello and good evening, Internet. This is your boy Von B, and this is the UN podcast. I still haven't come up with what the UN means, but I don't know. I'll figure it out at some point. I guess we get a big enough following, I can get the folks who are watching to give me some suggestions. All right. Looks like I am going to be going at it alone today. I'm kind of tired. It's been a long week at work. So we'll just see how long we go. Our customary is about an hour or so. So, all right. The first thing I saw that there's a Red Sonja trailer out and thought I'd check it out. I gotta admit, I'm not that excited about this particular movie. The person who they cast to be Red Sonja, she's kind of small, and it's kind of hard to top Brigitte Nielsen, who's like six something or 6'2" or something like that. So she was a big woman. So she kind of went, as far as size, she went toe to toe with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So it kind of came across as a bit more believable. But let's check it out. See if I can find this. Where is it? Oh, there it is. All right. They changed some stuff here, so I'm gonna figure out how to. All right, here we go. StreamYard's changed up their format a little bit. All right, so the trailer dropped. It's theaters August 15th. It's usually kind of a bad sign when the trailer drops like right before the movie comes out. The first trailer for the Red Sonja has arrived, offering a glimpse of the new take on the classic sword and sorcery heroine. Red Sonja releases in theaters on August 15th, followed by a digital release on August 29th. Wow, that means they have like little to no faith in this because it's like 2 weeks later. So, like I said, she's really tiny. She doesn't look very intimidating. She looks like a chick cosplaying as a warrior. Okay, so let's just check out the trailer and kind of hope for the best. All right, if it actually clicks over on it. Yeah, I may have to look it up on YouTube because it doesn't seem like it wants to click. All right, Red Sonja. All right. All right. Share this tab instead.
Sonja! The earth is bleeding.
And grant me the power to find those who did this.
Okay, I am getting straight to video vibes on this, and I can see why it is going to digital 2 weeks after it releases. Again, she looks like she's 12.
Why are you here?
To see my people again is all I dreamed of.
I like this one. Very, very feisty, eh?
He wants us to fight.
Okay, so we're gonna have some very accommodating stuntmen.
Or we both die. Someone has to make a stand. Nothing but death awaits us. I will do what damage I can.
You know what, Red? You are quite the woman.
Okay, was that a flashlight? Hold on, that looked like a flashlight. Dude pulled out a flashlight.
You think that your gods can stop me from conquering the world beyond?
It won't just be the Achaeans who suffer. It will be every tribe, every people who defy him.
Wow.
I am here
You and all of your kind are relics from the past. I am the future.
It's now or never.
Okay, girl boss on girl boss action. All right.
Do you choose death? Never.
You can have this and these.
And that protects.
Nothing. The crowd will love it.
And you are dissing the character design. So this is basically the trifecta of the crappy movie thing.
So if you can't.
All right. Yeah, that looked terrible. They should just release this straight to digital and don't even bother with releasing this in the theaters because that looked absolutely horrible. That is every bad trope from the last 10 years. She looked like she's about 5'2". She's probably going to be taking on people my height. I'm like 6'3". So yeah. And there'll be a lot of accommodating stuntmen who are going to let her kill them. Is going to kind of stand around and wait for their turn to get stabbed. It's like Hollywood doesn't understand that there's a physical difference between men and women. There's like a video I saw of 3 weightlifting women, and they were having a contest against 3 regular dudes, like regular guys. Like they weren't out of shape, but they were kind of like, you know, they was in normal guy shape. They destroyed these 3 women. These 3 women were like yoked up, big muscles or whatever. If you're gonna do something like this, you should at least get someone like, you know, like Gina Carano. She looks like especially when she was in Deadpool 1. Deadpool 1. Her physicality gave her a presence where she looked like she could actually, well, she can fight. And she looks like she can fight. This chick doesn't look like that. This chick, she looks like a cosplay. And at the end, you diss the character design. I don't know who that is supposed to appeal to. Because the person who would have a problem with the character design is not going to watch this movie. People who are going to watch this movie are Red Sonja fans, and they like the character designs because that's how she is designed. That's what she looks like. So disrespecting what she looks like, again, and they do this in multiple movies all the time. Disrespecting the customer base. I think it's kind of stupid, but that's what they do. All right, so on to the next topic. Apparently, there's a bunch of people watching anime on Netflix, and there's an article talking about that. It's kind of a bit of a slow week when it comes to stuff, because like I was going to talk about, like, if someone came out on with me, I was going to talk about Jurassic Park, because Jurassic Park was interesting from the sense that it was really stupid. It wasn't terrible, but it was stupid. It's just so many situations, and it probably would have made an interesting conversation with a friend of mine who actually saw it. He saw it at a different place from me. The thing about, and this probably has something to do with why so many people are into anime, is like they had an outline of what they wanted to happen throughout the movie. They couldn't figure out how to, like, they weren't good enough writers to be able to figure out how to go from one situation to the next. So you get a lot of stuff just kind of happening without them actually explaining it. Like there's a family. So you got like the one group that is going to this particular island because spoilers. Hold on. All right. There's one group that is going to this particular island, and it is the Scarlett Johansson and a bunch of I don't know what to call it, like mercenaries, but they're not. They're like mercenaries with a heart kind of thing, or they're not your typical kind of movie mercenaries. It's like they're like a family, so they all know each other and kind of stuff. And they're all kind of jaded with this life, so they're kind of taking the money so that they can, I guess, not do this anymore. So that's one group that's going. They're going to take some blood from dinosaurs, brontosaurs, like the big ones, like the huge, like long the herbivore ones, a type of pterodactyl. I'm not exactly sure the name of it, but the flying carnivore, and a I just checked it out. I mean, I could yeah, it's yeah, it's awful. She looks like she's cosplaying, which is kind of funny. It's it looks like a I bet you if you go to any kind of show where they have people dressed as Red Sonja would look 10 times better than what this lady looked like. But all right, back to what I was saying. So with Jurassic Park, you have a family that, because the way like I guess they're trying to fix the issues with the Chris Pratt ones, where you have a bunch of dinosaurs just kind of running around the earth and none of the governments seem to really care. So what they decided to do in this one is that because the earth is different than it was a couple million years ago, they're dying. Right? They're dying all over the place. So they kind of or stick at the equator. So I guess there are long islands or whatever in the equator. And this dude decided to take his 10-year-old daughter and his 18-year-old daughter and her boyfriend on a boat trip through this. And they get attacked by a dinosaur. Somehow they manage to survive. And it's just thing after thing after thing. And this is why I kind of like going back with the anime thing, is because they're all different types of anime, but you have people who are doing anime who actually know how to tell stories. They know how to have an outline of what you want to do and the means to be able to go from one point to the next and have it make sense. Like Jurassic Park didn't make no sense. The boat gets attacked by a dinosaur. Why? I don't know. It is it for some reason it thought you were a threat, and once they tipped the boat over, they basically, like, the dinosaur just kind of left them alone or not destroy them, which made no sense. So, all right, let's just check out this Netflix thing. The article. All right, anime's global takeover. 1 in 3 consumers watch weekly. 150 million Netflix subscribers are tuning in. I kind of watch my anime on Crunchyroll. Probably should start checking out to see what they have on Netflix. Because they have anime on Netflix. There's anime on Amazon, I think, like Prime Video. I think there's anime on there, and there's anime on just my roommate he signs up for one, so it's kind of it's spread all over the place. It's kind of hard to find. No, they got fairly popular ones that are on Crunchyroll. There's fairly popular ones that are on each one, but you got to kind of. Oh, and there's anime on Hulu too. So it's like regular, like television. You got to look through a bunch of stuff to figure out where you can watch whatever you can watch it at. It's kind of a pain in the butt. In its Anime Expo wrap up, Netflix revealed that half of its 300 million global users now watch anime. That figure aligns with recent Dentsu study, which found that 48% of global anime viewers subscribe to Netflix to do so. Wow, that is, I wouldn't, to be honest, I would have never thought that. Putting the streamer far ahead of competitors like Disney Plus and Prime Video. There's anime on. Okay, I gotta go look at. I got all of these, so I gotta go see what anime is on Disney Plus. I wonder if they mean that the stuff that's on Hulu, because there's a lot of anime on Hulu. Report shared by Variety. Anime is no longer the entertainment periphery. It's a global mainstream phenomenon. Hence the reason why you got a bunch of people trying to make their own version of anime. I think Will Smith and his production company is trying to do their own version of anime. The closest thing to an Americanized version of anime that I've seen is The Last Airbender. Preferably the first season. Second, the one with Korra sucked. But the first season is about as close as you can get to an American anime that I've seen. All the other ones is like, they don't really get, like, anime is a Japanese thing. So you got to have the Japanese culture in mind when you make it. Otherwise, it's just a cartoon. All right. All right. Dentsu's data revealed that 31% of global consumers watch anime at least once a week. Yeah, that's me. Asia Pacific region leads in consumption, with countries like Thailand, Indonesia, and Japan showing the highest weekly viewership rates, over 50%. I mean, that's where it comes from. So, even though some markets in the US and UK, anime viewership has experienced a surge. So, why the world is turning to anime? I can tell you that because there's a variety of different types of things. So, like, whatever kind of thing that you're kind of into, there's a version of anime for you. And the thing about Japan is they realize that they have a adult audience. They realize they have a kid audience. So the kid anime is for kids. The adult anime is geared more towards adults. And then it branches out into, they got horror stuff and they have like romantic comedies. It's like you got romantic things and they're having this weird, like, the titles are like a sentence long. There's a bunch of weird stuff going on. And my favorite type of anime typically is favorite type of anime is mech, and that's doesn't seem to be that popular right now, which is annoying. Okay, what's driving this global fascination? According to Dentsu, it's not just the animation style, it's the storytelling depth, emotional nuance, and cultural diversity the anime delivers. See, that's what I mean. They actually have people who have life experiences to a degree, so they're able to tell better stories. And for the most part, they stay away. They have elements that will be considered woke, I guess, but it's folded into the story and is not the main thing. The main thing is the main thing. So whatever the story is attempting to tell, whatever story they're trying to tell, that is the main focus. You'll just have elements of your alphabet, folk and various other things in it. So just like everything else, and I just did like a video on diversity in gaming. People don't really care one way or the other about diversity in terms of different types of races being in the leads in games or movies or whatever. It is about the story. You need to tell a good story. If you don't tell a good story, the other stuff doesn't matter. And a lot of the people, and that's the biggest problem with a lot of this stuff in a lot of Western things, is they think that diversity stuff is more like a garnish on your sandwich, like with your steak, and the story is the steak. But they spend so much focus on the garnish for the steak that they neglect. So the steak is terrible. It tastes terrible, but they'll keep telling you about the stuff that goes with the steak. Like, I don't care about that stuff if the steak is terrible. And the story is the main focus. So you get different types of things, and whatever floats your boat, there's a version of it out there for you. And go from there. Man, it stems from its ability to cater adult audiences, like I said, contrast to the often friendly, focused perception of Western animation. Because Japan knows how, like, especially like with manga, there's kid manga, there's adult manga. Not like they're not putting adult themes into the children's books and vice versa. Western companies used to be able to do that kind of stuff. They used to be able to tell layered stories. Well, there are things that adults will get, things that children will get. The children part won't even know what this other stuff is, but you can see it's subtle. They completely, just like I was saying before, they're so focused on the little identity stuff, they don't know how to do that anymore. So hence the 150 million people watching anime. Okay. Also, anime's appeal also stems from the ability to cater. Yeah. Contrast off the family focus perception of Western animation. Millennials, particular men, cited interest in Japanese culture and anime's mature themes as motivators for their fandom. Interestingly, perceived definition of anime is also evolving. While 37% of global viewers believe anime must be produced in Japan, an almost equal share of 36% accept the Japanese-inspired animation from anywhere as authentic. Cartoon Brew still falls firmly in the former category. See, this is where it gets a little dicey for me because anime is a Japanese thing. Like, there's animation comes in all kind of forms. Like, there's French animation, which is very decidedly French. Like, if you like the Minions, that's a French enthused type of animation, and you can tell the Frenchness of it, of how the jokes are and how the people act and the way that the Minions talk. They speak a kind of Frenchy kind of thing, like when they talk. But that's baked into their culture. And I think if you have something that's like that and you try to emulate it and you're not from that area, it gets it could be kind of weird. Whereas you run into problems and you are no longer making the thing that you are trying to produce. And this is where I see that there could be a problem, especially with Americans trying to make anime, because just make American animation. You used to be able to do that. My whole childhood was filled up with American animation, and they actually took some ideas from Japan and kind of Americanized them. Given that there's no internet and it was very hard to get access to anime at the time, because a long time ago. So, it's like they were inspired by. So if you look at all the cartoons from the 80s and whatnot, a lot of them were inspired by anime at the time. And what's funny is anime was inspired by Disney. So it's like anime took from Disney and now they're taking from anime. So it's like Western. So it's like a interesting little thing that you're winding up with. Authenticity remains critical. 60% of anime viewers read the original manga, and many expect involvement from original creators of adaptations, especially live action projects. Yeah, just like One Piece. One Piece benefited greatly by the fact that the person who made the manga had total control over that show. If they did something that he didn't like, that didn't get on the screen. And every time they do any kind of live action version of an anime or a manga and they don't have involvement from the person who made it, you can tell because they Americanize it too much and it strays away from what people liked about it in the first place. I think Bleach ran into that problem. All right. How do you define anime? Okay, so all right, so these are just the stats that they were talking about. U.S. viewers are passionate and profitable. U.S. anime fans aren't just watching; they're spending. And 40% of American viewers reported spending over $200 on anime merchandise in the past year. T-shirts, little figures, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's probably pretty huge. I'm spending more. When 20% spending more than $500. If you buy like the little I forgot what they call them, but the little mech statuettes and all that stuff, those things can be expensive as hell. Like the little figurines. Yeah. So it could be $500 and you buy 3 things. That makes U.S. most lucrative market for animated project globally, followed by Thailand and China. All right. This high the United States is the most promising market for brands looking to sell anime-inspired products. Well, I guess, but that's been a thing. See, this is interesting how this goes because that's been a thing for a while. And so I guess the normies are getting into it. That's probably the reason for this. But your typical anime fan was all about buying this stuff. So it's like everything else. Once the normies get involved, that's when your more mainstream writers talk about stuff like it's brand new, even though I've been watching anime since the 80s. And used to be able to go down to Little Tokyo and buy the books and the mech kits and the little statues and all that stuff for going on 40 years. So this is not an actual new thing, but it's no longer a niche. So design engagement goes beyond purchases. American fans are also among the most active creators in the fandom. Then 10% of US viewers host their own anime podcasts or live streams. 11% sell anime inspired merchandise in online marketplaces. These are mega fans reflect a participatory culture where fandom becomes content creation. Streaming drive discovery, influencers fuel engagement. Streaming platforms play a major role. There's a problem though, is because there's so much anime right now. It is kind of hard to find the good stuff. So you still kind of have to work off of recommendations. Like I watched Solo Leveling. I've seen that multiple times, and part of the reason for that is because I heard about it. And I also watched this other one called To Be Hero X, and that is because people have been saying that if you like Solo Leveling, then you'll like that. And Solo Leveling is like really, really good. So streaming platforms, okay. Authenticity, all right. Anime's popularity presents a huge opportunity for marketeers, but the approach must be nuanced. Dentsu emphasized that anime is not monolithic. Viewer motivations vary by age, gender, and geography. A one-size-fits-all strategy won't resonate, which is your typical corporate viewpoint of this stuff. Take whatever is popular, replicate it to people who are sick of it, and move on to the next thing. Cultural fit on authenticity is the key, then argues the study. Brands that incorporate anime IP must be thoughtful. Consumers prefer when anime content or collaborations feel true to the original vision, especially when it comes to adaptation. Gen Z and millennial consumers in particular reward integrity. Over 40% of anime viewers say their opinion on a brand improves when it incorporates anime-inspired designs or promotion, and the number jumps to nearly 60% in the US. Anime has officially transcended borders, language, and generations, and its rise in the US and around the world signals a shift in global media consumption. Again, the normies found out about the thing that a bunch of people who already watch anime did. It's like comic books. This is the new, I guess this is a new thing after, because they have drained all of they could out of the superhero stuff. So they're moving on to anime. I hope that they don't do to anime what they did to superhero stuff. Stop making good movies, become they've figured out the easiest, cheapest way to do this, and they started making very formulaic things. All right, so wow, it's 30 minutes in. Cool. I like anime. I hope they don't change it too much, but given how everything is going, I can't say. All right. So I am going to go see Superman on Tuesday. I guess next week I'll give a pretty vague my interpretation of it. I wonder if I should do it out of the theater thing, or will it be too late? I don't know. Well, they had some news about the DEI Black Superman. And as you can tell by my tone of voice, I was not looking forward to a Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman because the dude does not like America. He does not like America. I love the people who don't like America but don't want to leave. They just want to stay here and complain about how they're being oppressed and whatever. They complain about oppression from their mansions and say how everything sucks and we should just fuss and scream about everything. But these corporations have realized that you cannot sell wokeness. There's not enough people who are into it. There are not enough people who are into it positively to justify spending hundreds of millions of dollars on this stuff because it's going to fail. It's like the Red Sonja. Yeah, that's going to fail. It looks bad. And the fact that they're putting, like I said, they're putting it out 2 weeks after they are releasing it in the theaters. Even they know it was bad. Just like Ironheart, Disney knew it was bad. That's why they held on to it for like 2 years. And when it comes out, everything that it talks about is from stuff 3 years ago. So it's super dated and cringy, and it's a bunch of stuff, and it's just a lot of young people whining about things, about how they can't achieve anything in life because somehow they're being held back by whoever. Some random person that they don't know is holding them back. So let's talk about what David Zaslav did. So Warner Brothers Discovery boss David Zaslav pulled the plug on the Ta-Nehisi Coates Black Superman movie for being too woke. Talks of Superman movie with a black lead persisted for years. Michael B. Jordan was attached to play the Val Zod version of the character in an HBO Max TV series. If you don't know who this is, when Obama was elected president, DC decided to make Superman a version of Superman that was basically Barack Obama. He came from Krypton. He became president of the United States, and yeah, he was just basically Barack Obama as Superman. And Val Zod is different, I think, because I don't really read like modern DC stuff, but I think he's just from Krypton. So he might be like he's just from Krypton. So he's just a black guy from Krypton. So he has all Superman's powers and all that other stuff. And he's like I said, he's also from Krypton. Over the years, Superman has come from being by himself, the only survivor of Krypton. That's basically how he was created. Then they decided to give him a cousin. And so he had Supergirl. And up until, I guess, the mid 2010s or something like that, they decided to somehow she's more powerful than him. I don't know how that works. So they changed her character a little bit. And I'm concerned about what they're going to do in that Supergirl movie that they're going to make. And then they decided to make this guy, and that's Val Zod. So I'm glad that this stuff is starting to weed itself out. They have to get all of these things that they greenlit 2-3 years ago, and they already filmed some of this stuff. So yeah, I'll be glad when all this crap is done. So all right, so okay, Michael B. Jordan attached to play Val Zod version of the So his might have been the actual is it the Barack Obama version of him? Said Ta-Nehisi Coates doesn't like white people. He's a racist. So when Henry Cavill was sidelined as the Man of Steel after he refused to return for Shazam, I don't know if that was the case. I think that had a lot to do with The Rock. So it's like a whole behind the thing. They got like that's like a whole side thing. So I'm not sure that's the case. We heard the idea was for a 1930s set. See, this is what I get annoyed by when it comes to movies they make for black people. They always put it in the 30s or the 40s or whatever, so that they can keep bringing up Jim Crow, even though this stuff is like 1930 is damn near 100 years ago. You talk about stuff that happened 100 years ago. I mean, your grandparents kind of vaguely remember people talking about this when they were younger, but they keep making stuff like this. It's like, I heard Sinners was a good movie, but I'm kind of tired of movies being in that time period. There's like another one coming out. This is again, same stuff. So they can bring up Jim Crow over and over again. All right. Okay, featuring a black Kal-El attempting to find his place on Earth at a time when America was embroiled in racism. Sounds like a fascinating concept. No, it doesn't. But it wasn't one that Warner Brothers Discovery CEO was a fan of. You recall he scrapped Batgirl 2/3 of the way into production as a tax write-off, earning him a reputation as being ruthless and not afraid to upset filmmakers or fans. Nobody was gonna was that interested in Batgirl. Just like no one's interested in Ironheart, which sucks. So what they were going to do with Batgirl, if I can remember correctly, was put what the hell? Damn, I hate being old. It was Michael Douglas. The guy from he was in the Flash, so he was gonna be the like her mentor. So instead of doing Batman Beyond with him, is what they should have. They decided to go that route and kind of take some of the elements of Batman Beyond, kind of put it in a modern time period, and just make that the TV show. Which I don't know who this was going to be for, but it's probably why he wrote it off. All right. According to Wall Street Journal, shortly after taking over the studio, he decided to pull the project on Coates and Abrams' Superman movie as being too woke. We're not sure what's woke about the story of Black Man of Tomorrow. Basic in the 1930s, so you could talk about Jim Crow yet again, and full of identity politics, and have Superman being called all kind of N-words and all kind of stuff. That is definition of what woke is. Yeah. Nobody would want to see that. I don't know who this would have been for. I'm not even sure why this dude is actually famous, to be honest. But he's like he's a race baiter kind of dude. So he was incorrectly to tear down anything that isn't led by a white male. I don't know who wrote this, but yeah. Changing, like you fighting over a race change friggin' Superman is the dumbest thing possible, because there's a guy in Marvel called the Blue Marvel that was written by the person who wrote Underworld, like the vampire movies. He created a character in Marvel called Blue Marvel. You could have put elements of that because he was born around that time period and he lived for a long time. He pretty much is almost as powerful as Superman. So if they wanted to make an original character movie with a superhero, there are black characters. You do not have to race change characters, but they don't give a crap about none of this stuff really. And so you got people like this, whoever wrote that, who for whatever reason doesn't seem to understand that there are actually black characters. How you taking Captain America's shield and shoving it on top of the Falcon is not an improvement, is actually a regression, because he is one of the original black characters in Marvel. He did not need to be Captain America. He's a strong enough character in his own right, and everybody acted like Anthony Mackie as him. You should have made that Captain America 4 movie about Falcon. Then you could have took all the Captain America crap out of it, made it a spy thriller or whatever it was, and it probably would have worked better. So I don't know why these people keep begging for these handouts and then getting mad when it gets taken away from them. The other interesting tidbits in the article, for example, Zaslav talks to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson about fixing the DC brand. Those talks fell through when Black Adam bombed. Yeah, because The Rock was trying to make the DC universe about him. Yeah, and that didn't go over too well. Yeah, so that's what the end. What he says is like the bomb derailing the former pro wrestler's plans to build a DC universe around himself. Yeah, his star is kind of failing. So it was stupid of him to do that. Going back even further back, Justice League crashed and burned 2017. Okay. All right, so anything I do dive in has got to be done the right way. It's got to be full of authenticity. Playing a race change character, probably not that. Preview said in his Superman hopes, I'm a fan of the comic books. I understand the fans being upset. Oh, why are they doing this? Why are they changing that? I would feel the same way about certain things. So it's just, so just know if I were to dabble in anything, it will be authentic and sound like something like people would really support. I don't know. It's DC. You can make them static. Again, original black character. Have it's the Duffyverse. He created his own black characters. They're all is it Oklahoma? What the hell are they? I forgot exactly where they're from, but he made it in. It's called Milestone Comics. It is all black characters. It is all original. They're so good that DC bought the rights to it, brought him in, and he was the one who was pushing all the Justice League cartoons that everybody liked. Yeah, that's him. He's the reason why instead of having Hal Jordan, we got John Stewart, and he became so popular that when they made a Green Lantern movie, people couldn't figure out why the hell Green Lantern was white, because the Green Lantern that they knew was John Stewart. So it's like he can have that. He might be too old to play Static, but he can play an older Static. So there is actually authentic black characters, but you do not have to do any of this nonsense when it comes to race changing characters. If they actually gave a crap about representation of black characters, but they don't. They don't really do. So all these people who said all this crap and all this begging about the black man of tomorrow, blah blah blah, miss me with that, because then you would look into all the original black characters that have been created over the years. There are plenty of them that they can make movies about that have interesting backstories, have interesting power sets. Hell, Mr. Terrific. Apparently, Mr. Terrific is good in the Superman movie. He could do that. So, just nonsense. All it does kind of pisses me off. All right. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about is they made a comic book for Fantastic Four where they did some changes in order to advertise for the Fantastic Four movie that's coming out. That the more I hear about it, the less hopes I have for it being good. From Pedro Pascal running his mouth off and all that dumb crap. All right, so let me find this article. All right, here we go. All right, so after this, I'm gonna call it a night because it's been an interesting week. Alrighty, okay. All right, Marvel Comics relaunches Fantastic Four to add the upcoming movies Feminism Due with Sue Storm as the leader. Marvel's relaunch of the Fantastic Four with another all new #1 first issue, which Marvel does constantly, thus lowering the value of their property, like the IPs, because you keep rebooting everything. Just a cynical marketing ploy that attempt to push feminism, the feminism narrative that's pervasive in the upcoming movie where Sue Storm is now the leader of the Fantastic Four. She's not. Never was. It is the Fantastic Four is a family. She is the mother of the family. So while Reed Richards is the father, you got the uncle, you got the two uncles and their two kids. They don't catch bad guys in the sense of people who rob banks. They go on adventures. That's what they do. Reed Richards has a cockamamie idea about something, and they go off adventures based off of that. That's the Fantastic Four. It has always been the Fantastic Four. Them trying to change it would mess with how it works. They made a different version of the Fantastic Four in the Ultimate Universe, and the Fan Four Stick movie is based off of that, where Sue Storm was smart, but she was product of the 1950s, so she was a housewife kind of thing, that kind of thing. So when he rebooted it for the Ultimate Universe, then that's when you get to school in that movie, the one with Michael B. Jordan, where it was like a school of geniuses, and she was a genius. She's a biochemistry or something like that. So she was really smart. She's not equal to Reed Richards because he's ridiculously out of this world smart, but she's smart in her own way. So, and it was an interesting take because you made them young again. I actually prefer a lot of these characters when they're younger because they have less adult type stuff. It's like I prefer Spider-Man when he was younger because, like, when he's an adult, it just gets to be annoying because they don't ever let him grow up. Well, anyway, I'm kind of digressing. So when Jack Kirby created the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards the leader and the patriarch, but in the modern corporate entertainment, this is something that cannot be tolerated. Yeah, so Pedro Pascal basically plays like a wimpy version of Reed Richards, as opposed to the one that we got briefly in the Doctor Strange movie, where he gets killed off and turned into spaghetti before he could actually do anything. Almost all the entertainment, especially when it comes to Marvel movies, as men getting emasculated and replaced by female counterparts. The new Fantastic Four iteration appears to be much the same. The movie's about a week from coming out, and all signs from the trailers and early information point to Sue Storm being treated as the leader of the leader of Marvel's first family, while Reed Richards predictably takes a back seat. Yeah, and it has a lot to do with the reason why Pedro Pascal was not their first choice. Everyone that they seemed like most people that they approached read the script, was like, nah, I'm good. So that just tells you what kind of script this is going to be. There's a trend in the film portraying men as weaker, less competent in the female sex. Has been a massive propaganda push towards feminism across the board in entertainment. Moreover, the movie has replaced the Silver Surfer with a female version of the character, which they are doing a marketing campaign to say is not really a race swap because it's a different character, as fans have rightly pointed out that they're sick of characters getting this kind of treatment. What they're saying is because someone wrote a book, and in that book, the Silver Surfer was his girlfriend and not Norman Rad in that one particular story, like a elsewhere kind of thing. So that's what they're justifying it as, and they're saying that they are going to they're going to come over to the MCU, so we're gonna get the male Silver Surfer and Galactus and all that in this. So that person is like an alternate, is like this weird thing that they're doing. Like, if all the other Fantastic Four movies that have been done, the most successful one was the one with Jessica Alba, and Chris Evans is Johnny Storm. If that's your most successful, and they had a really good Silver Surfer, which looks better than the one that they have now, and that movie's like 20 years old. Character which they're doing marketing campaign. Yeah, okay. So I don't know what this is. All right, but with the film coming out, Marvel is letting a promotional stunt go to waste. They're relaunching Fantastic Four, but on an all new #1 first item for fans. Despite not even changing the creative teams for the Switch, is one of the most naked attempts to extract funds out of fans in recent history. With the rampant reboots and relaunches, it is something similar with Amazing Spider-Man 1. The issue, the fight between Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom, showing how little comics have left in the tank in terms of creativity. Focus on finding established properties rather than doing anything interesting. Okay, helicopters just flying over. Okay, all right. Yeah, is because that takes talent. It takes, in order for you to tell a good story, you got to have life experiences to get out and be able to formulate. And this goes back to what I was saying before, especially like what about Jurassic Park and how poorly written it was. It's like you have an outline of what story beat you want to hit, but you have no idea how to piece it together, put all to actually make the cake. Like you got the instructions to make the cake, but you don't know how to actually do it. So the issue is yet another fight between Fantastic Four. Okay, and the team separating gets sent to different points of time, but they have to find each other in something that's been done in Fantastic comic before. However, this new #1 has added a sinister feminism to it, trying to bring the comic in line with the movie's portrayal. In the narrative, there's a panel where Sue Storms says equivalent, I lead the team, replacing Reed Richards in traditional role. There have been times where Sue has led the team before, but that was generally because Reed was missing, not because he simply usurped his authority. So, okay. It's me, Sue Storm, the invisible woman. I've been light and energy and make force fields with my mind, and I lead the team. No, you don't. And it looks like she's making a construct. We're the Fantastic Four, brought us here because Dr. Doom is taking over the planet, and today we're going to stop them. Today we're going to save the world. That's not how the Fantastic Four works. Fantastic Four works around Reed Richards. It's just, that's how it does. Like I said before, he comes up with like different things. They go time traveling, they go here, there, whatever. And Reed Richards tends to see the world in extraordinary ways. She's more like the grounding of it to keep everything from for him going crazy, being locked in the lab, that kind of thing. She is not the leader of the Fantastic Four. This is very stupid. So whoever wrote this doesn't understand how the Fantastic Four seems to work, or he's being told to write this. It's like, it kind of reminds me of the white Black Panther, and having the author of that, the writer is the black guy who has been on record saying that he's getting tired of them just putting him on books with black characters. He's like, I am a writer. I can write anything. I just like, but they just put him on the black characters because he's a black guy, and he does not like that. So maybe this person does understand the Fantastic Four, and he's been told by Marvel to do this. I don't know. It's just tired of it. All right. Speaking of tired, I think I'm going to call it an evening. I hope Superman, I've heard mixed things about Superman. I hope it doesn't suck. I hope it's not stupid like Jurassic Park was. I don't know. So if you're checking this out later, please like, share, and subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And this is Vaughn B. And next week, hopefully my friends will be back. And all right, later.